Let's talk to Dr. Efrat Sopher about this, security analyst, chair of the Board of Advisors at the Ezri Center for Iran and Gulf States Research. Efrat, great to have you with us here on LBC this evening. We'll start, if we could, with that admission, that statement from David Lammy, former Foreign Secretary, that the UK government, as he puts it, has not concluded that Israel is acting with the intent that would be required to prove a genocide. What do you make of that assessment? Do you share it?
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Ben. I think that this discussion is perfectly timed. I think that David Lammy has not been shy about criticizing Israeli action in Gaza. And I think that his recent letter confirms the views of many lawyers, many leading lawyers, British lawyers, stating that the genocide assertion is completely false. This also shows us that and confirms how the UK and Israel have been firm strategic allies for many, many years. And as you say, we can disagree with our friends, but the fundamental importance here is to underscore the importance of diplomacy. And this especially is important for the United Kingdom as we're finding our international place in the world, that it is important to be hosting these dialogues as well. Now, President Herzog has powers similar to that of His Majesty King Charles.
It's a largely ceremonial role.
It is a largely
He did come out
role.
after the 7th of October, Efrat, and suggest that he thought no Palestinian was innocent of the crimes that were committed by Hamas.
He came out after October 7th, and things were said in the heat of the moment post-October 7th, which was the biggest massacre since the Holocaust.
He hasn't retracted that statement, though, as far as I'm aware.
He has shown regret at any civilian life and any casualties, and so it's important for us to tune in to what kind of a figure President Herzog has become. He's become a unifying force within Israel, which, truth be told, politically is quite divided at the moment. He has been that voice where both sides of the aisle, so to speak, have united behind. So if a British leader were to speak to an Israeli statesman, President Herzog is the one to speak with.
Let's just touch on the other major news story today, that Israeli strike on Doha, widely condemned by a lot of political leaders across the globe, including allies of Israel like our own Prime Minister, who have used language like unprecedented violation of sovereignty and so on, Efrat. Was it a legitimate strike in your view?
In my view, the strike was against Hamas leaders who were architects of October 7th and had their sights set on attacks against the West. And they are leaders of prescribed terrorist organizations.
But countries can't go around just launching airstrikes at any location that they feel fit anywhere on the globe. I mean, if that would have been in London, Efrat, British people would have been rightly appalled. So why is it okay for Israel to do that and violate Qatar's sovereignty?
Well, Qatar has been housing these terrorist leaders. The UK does not host terrorist leaders. Qatar has been hosting and funding Hamas for years now. And so Qatar has been warned for years that they were hosting these leaders and they were a liability to their own people. What's interesting here is it shows that Qatar's foreign policy is backfiring slightly. It's showing cracks, where Qatar has been attacked by two powers in the Middle East, both by Iran in June and by Israel today. And none of these would have happened without a green light or a wave by the United States. So Qatar has played many hands. And so even Gulf states who have been there's not much love lost between the different Gulf states.
No,
Qatar.
But when you say, Efrat, it would not have taken place without American approval. Donald Trump says he was aware of the decision, but it absolutely wasn't his. Our government wasn't even informed. So when you talk about this strong alliance and the need for sort of diplomacy between friends, I'd put it to you, it has to go both ways, and absolutely nothing that the Netanyahu government has done in the last 2 years suggests that they consider Britain to be an ally of Israel. They are consistently riding roughshod over diplomatic norms when it comes to our country.
Well, I think when we talk about diplomatic norms, we have, especially from my watching Iranian activity in this country, there has been a lot of coordination on security, on the security front, where thanks to collaboration between British and Israeli security forces, many terrorist threats have been thwarted, not only in the UK, but around Europe with our European allies. So I think that this dialogue is still ongoing, and I hope that the conversation between Prime Minister Starmer and President Herzog would help to strengthen those lines of communication, because the perception in Israel has been that the Labour government has been more or less antagonistic against Israel.
Why? Where does that impression come from?
From the threats to have arms boycotts, from various public figures speaking very fiercely against Israeli actions. On the other side, there's also been.
That's
on
part of
the
being
other
a friend,
side,
isn't it? I mean, if the Netanyahu government thinks that being a friend and ally means unquestioningly accepting everything that is being done in Gaza, that isn't realistic. Sometimes being a friend means pointing out when your ally is doing something catastrophic, self-defeating and disastrous.
But being a friend is also, the UK has shown when it can be a constructive friend, for example, when it helped in secure the release of British-Israeli hostage Emily Damari. There are still hostages being held captive, and with the United Kingdom threatening to recognize Palestinian statehood if certain criteria by Israel were not met, without mentioning the hostages, has put Israel in a difficult position. I believe that this dialogue this week can really help towards bringing communication where it can be, and to reset and to put our relations on a much steadier, more positive ground.
Really appreciate your time. Efrat, thank you for coming on and talking to us this evening. That's Dr. Efrat Sopher, security analyst, chair of the board of advisors at the Ezri Center for Iran and Gulf States Research. Your call's coming on this. Am I right